Well, the math conference was disappointing to say the least. Once I got on Troy University campus, I had a little difficulty finding the building, primarily because I didn't look at the map until I got on campus. I didn't think to look at it beforehand because I knew Troy was kind of small. And once I found the building, I found where I was supposed to park, and I realized that at no point in time from the moment I got on campus did I see any kind of advertisement for this conference. Because, I wasn't expecting like a huge national or even regional conference. I was expecting really just like a greater Alabama conference, like maybe more than one SEC school represented, like maybe University of Alabama or something, but no advertising. So I get into the building. There's a couple tables lined up, I guess, for the graduate programs of other schools to try and recruit people. I don't know. And I get checked in, and I get a nice name tag and like a tote bag with a notepad in it and a schedule. I go into a room, and these are taking place in classrooms that probably seat no more than 40, 45 people. And the first one that I go into this room a little early, and there's 4 people watching this talk. 4 people. And I sit down, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe this was just like an unpopular one, maybe it's whatever, I don't know. Maybe there's a lot of other people and some other really interesting talks that are going on at the same time. And then I start to realize that the students that are presenting stuff, at least in that room, one, they weren't presenting their research. They were just giving an overview of various topics in math. They weren't presenting any new research that they created. They were just like, let's sit down and talk about the 4-color theorem. I'm not going to do anything new with it. I'm just going to tell you what it's about. And it's like, I own Google. I have pretty much the same education as all you. Why do I need to be here for this? What's the point of me being here? Beyond that, I realized that there was a professor who I guess was the mentor for these kids that were presenting, was like evaluating them on their presentation. And he was guiding them like, okay, whoever's next, get up there and prepare your presentation so that, you hit your time hack and you start when you're supposed to. Then I slowly start to realize that what Troy University has done is decided to evaluate the presentation performance or of their students, and they decided to try and make it sound fancy and try and get other people in schools involved by calling it a math conference. And I was like, oh my god, I just drove an hour and a half not telling me anything I couldn't find on the internet on a Wikipedia page in my car in the parking lot on my phone. That was pretty disappointing. So I sat through 2.5 talks. Walked in early for one of them, which was in the previous class. Then I sat through all of that when that was on regression analysis. Again, just an overview of the topic. What the definition of regression analysis. These are the different things that we do in regression analysis, and not even really any good examples. And if there was an example, I couldn't tell it was one or if it was just like where it was coming from. And then the last one that I sat through was the math behind March Madness. And that did end up being some mostly original research. These students, they seem to be upperclassmen, so like 3rd or 4th years, or maybe even grad students, I wasn't sure, but they took someone else's research and tweaked a little bit, which was interesting. But again, still not like anything real crazy, nothing that knocked my socks off, and I was like, wow, this was worth me driving, a total of 3 hours for. That was disappointing, so at that point I just left and cut my losses because I had things to do, and I have a room in the library reserved for later today, and I didn't want to miss that because those are hard to come by, especially with finals coming up. Well, on the way back, I was thinking, well, if there's a way, if you want to get just a random person off the street, or maybe a kid interested in math, the way to do it isn't through just a description or an overview of the Navier-Stokes equations. That's going to put everyone to sleep immediately, including the people who like that. It's not. I feel like what's necessary to get people in is to talk about the math in an approachable manner, which I harp on all the time, so that a regular person can understand it at least fundamentally or conceptually, and apply it to something that lots of people like and lots of people are really into. If you could take it one step further, make it easy to understand, apply it to something that people really like, create it or formulate it or tailor it so that it helps people enjoy what they like doing even more, if that makes their interests more pleasurable and more entertaining for them. So just the March Madness one, for example. Tons of people love March Madness. It's $1 billion industry betting on it. And this math is telling you how you can predict a considerably better bracket. I think that's what they call them. So that's a good way to get your average Joe Schmo who just likes some college basketball interested in some light mathematics. That sounds like a recipe for success. But I don't know. There was extremely little turnout. I'm pretty sure everyone was there in any given talk was just waiting for their talk to start or just hanging around after their talk ended. And most of it seemed to be faculty. That I didn't see any name tags that seemed like, because it has name in your university. I didn't see any that seemed to indicate people were going there simply to watch, which was sad. I was hoping for a good turnout. I was hoping to, maybe rub some elbows a little bit, but that did not. That ended up not being the case. I wouldn't say it deterred me. Probably would deter me from going to a small-time conference like that isn't heavily publicized or popular, but it does make me want to go to an actual convention like Mathematics Association of America convention or Society of Industrial and Applied Mathematics, SIAM, I think that's what it stands for, one of their conventions. That would be interesting. So, which I might like look into doing maybe next year when I'm a senior or something like that. Time and money permitting. Lesson learned. It was a nice drive though, at the very least, I guess, but it was rainy for most of it. But anyhow, thanks for watching. We'll catch you later.